What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Happy Halloween, and welcome back to the WDL Week 7. We are officially into our final third of our draft league, and this is the point where that kind of final playoff push really starts to take effect. So we have a lot of good matches for you guys today, and let's get into those. Before we do that, however, I just want to remind you guys of the standings after the first 6 weeks. We have the Ferrets in first place, who have been the only team up to this point to clinch a playoff berth with 18 points. JesusLBL and SurfTaco with the Strawhats and Sheerans both tied for second with 13 points. Wondrous Shoopufs with 11. Slim Chance Brigade and Bebop's crew both with 9. Golgari Swarm with 8. Sappers and myself, Soldier First Class, both with 7. And Perfect Storm with 5. For our first matchup today, we have a battle between the very first place team and the last place team, between the Perfect Storm and the Ferrets. So wouldn't this be the perfect opportunity for the Ferrets to finally take a loss and get Perfect Storm back into the middle of that playoff push? So let's take a look at the teams and kind of see what we expect to see out of these teams. So first of all, Ferrets, pretty much a lock. Dark is always in play. Joker, Garvel, Renell has been so effective this season. As you can see, Joker's 9-2, Garvel's 11-2, Renell is 8-2. Those three units together have just been really successful. Looking at the elemental side of it, Turambar does have some ice units, so it is possible he brings those out. However, the one thing about his team is that he cannot actually run Velis and Lastwall together because he doesn't have a 40 cost unit to pair with that. And Unhindered also has 2 fire units that could kind of work against those ice units. So I think from the Ferrets, it's probably expected to either bring full dark or full light, realistically. And with the Perfect Storm, I think I probably expect to see a mono wind comp. I just think that's typically the best way that he can make a team. He can make those 2 fire units together work. In order to do that, he either has to bring Sasha or Zazan. That is a play he could do. The fire team is slightly weaker to magic, I would say, than physical, and they are somewhat weak to pierce, which Sasha brings. So he could do that option as well. Otherwise, I think Luartha, Winter, Joom, Lucia, I think are all potential threats, and I probably expect to see 1 or 2 of those units from Unhindered come out this week. So without further ado, let's see what these guys brought out for match 1. So match number 1, Unhindered is bringing Joom, Winter, Luartha, and Zazan versus Turambar's go-to dark team. So very curious to see how this works. Joom is a very good physical tank, so if there's anybody in the game who could tank up this dark team, it might be her. It's very possible. So Turambar is going to go with some pretty typical buffs he normally goes with. I will say the only difference is that he's got Garvel kind of out on the side. This is a little different than what he normally does. Jamming Thrust comes out, very respectable damage, about 6,400. And Winter Luartha pretty much follows up with the exact same amount of damage back onto Garvel. So kind of even playing field up at this point. Zazan pops Starlight Elena's TMR, which gives dark and light resist. A very good play from Unhindered because Turambar has both good dark and light units. The Joom walks up and takes out Garvel, so Unhindered out to an early lead here. So Joker's going to walk up, double resist. This is a very good buff against Unhindered's team, as he has a lot of both Pierce and Missile units. Winter Luartha gets bells on, so she shouldn't have AP problems. Is she in the way of AoE? No, not from Renell at least. So let's see. Joom's going to go next. What does she do? Triple trick. Interesting. So that can work against like a barrier, if you don't have a barrier break, just to try and get 3 hits off and stuff like that. Unfortunately, though, Winter Luartha is in the range of Joker's massive AoE, so Joom is going to have to do a lot of legwork here. Wicked Pummel comes out. Not a ton of damage. And fortunately for Unhindered, Joom actually steps out of the way, so this might actually save Zazan. I lied. Joker has a massive AoE range. Of course, it's going to hit both units. I will say, though, Joom is tanking this damage incredibly well. It's just whether or not she can dish any damage back. And so she's going to go next. 22 IP. What can she do? She goes for triple trick again. So very interesting. He's definitely trying to get that slash resist piercing rate up as much as possible. I do wonder if that's worth it when you're bringing somebody like a pierce attacker like Winter Luartha. But it could just be because it lowers evasion too, so maybe he was trying to make sure that he hit the unit. But I believe a Joom has a guaranteed hit in her kit. So, but either way, I mean, nobody's ever surprised when Turambar wins a match. His team is so ridiculously good. He's undefeated for a reason. Unhindered, I would like to see what he changes up for match 2. I will say Joom tanked very, very well, so I think Joom is a good bring here. I think if Winter Luartha is in a different position, she might be able to just like go off, because she did very, very good damage to Garvel right out of the bat. If she's able to pop Bells turn 1 and just kind of stay out of the way of damage, I think she could potentially carry. Let's see if Unhindered goes with that strategy or changes up the units. Let's see what happens. All right, so a lot of pressure here for Unhindered, trying to get some points to get back in the middle of the playoff push here, going up against the top team in the league. This would be a heck of a time for an upset, though. That would be very, very cool. So Joker's going to pop, we have to survive, gets the protect and the physical and magic shield. That buff is so ridiculously good. I can't believe how good that buff is. So Garvel kind of on a flank just like before, except Turambar kind of flipped the sides of his units here. And you're going to see Winter Luartha way out on the side. So she doesn't pop Bells turn 1. She goes for a different buff. Not sure if she's going to pop Bells on turn 2 or not. We'll take a peek. Zazan with that massive movement's going to go over to Joom and buff. And Renelle's going to get her health shield, which is a very cool thing to use. Unless you have Dispel, you can't really get rid of it. It's not like a typical shield break, I don't believe. But Stormwind Wren going to come out from Joom. So she's in good position to tank. What's going to happen in this 1v1, though? It's pretty much going to be Winter Luartha versus Garvel. 33-46. So that barrier coming out from Garvel this time very much mitigates the damage. It cuts it in half, so... Gloombound Trinity, but yeah, Joom tanking this insanely well. If she can get away from her team, she can definitely tank up some damage. She gets the triple trick online. Maybe Zazan will be able to chain with it. Spirit Blaster comes out just about 3k. So Binding Javelin, another 33-46. I think one more of those should do it. One more of those should take him out. Jamming Edge comes out from Zazan. I'm actually surprised he didn't go for the Garvel there. I wonder if he would have been able to kill him. Unfortunately, Zazan goes down, but he is only the 20 cost unit. Still has the 2 high cost units left. Joom is still hanging on. Unfortunately, Jamming Thrust comes out. Joom's going to go down. It is now a 3v1. Oh, man, and Winter Luartha only has 4 AP. It is not looking great. I think if she had Bells online, maybe she could get some AoEs here and do something. Twin Chi Rupture is going to do a lot of damage. Well, what is Joker going to do? Oh my god, Counter Trick actually takes him out. Can Renelle hit her from here? Yes, she can. So she's going to take her out. Unfortunately for Unhindered, he's going to drop 2-0 this week, but well fought. I thought the Joom tanked insanely well throughout that match. She took, I think, like 5 or 6 hits maybe to kill in that match, so very well done by both teams. Unfortunately for Unhindered, I think it's very unlikely for him now to try and make playoffs here. We'll take a look to see what happens in the standings, see if he can keep those hopes alive if certain teams lose. We'll see what happens. Turambar, obviously, he had already clinched a playoff spot. He's just making it more and more likely to get that first round bye. If the teams who are tied for second lose this week, I believe he clinches a bye. We'll have to take a look and see what happens at the end. But let's get into our second match of the day. All right, guys, so second matchup of the day here, we've got Dr. Dickhead and the Golgari Swarm versus Spike and Bebop's crew. So Spike sitting here at 9 points and Dr. Dickhead at 8. Very, very tight in the standings. Whoever wins this has a huge edge and a much better chance to make the playoffs. So this match is very, very important for both teams here. To take a look here, Dr. Dickhead has a couple of evasion units. One thing that I've learned personally, Spike has some incredibly accurate units on his team. Luelle is just like crazy accurate. If she is like full accuracy build, she pretty much just does not miss. Noctis has a guaranteed hit. I believe there's one more guaranteed hit in the kit, but I can't remember. But he has some very, very accurate units, so I think it's a little risky to run evade. However, what I will say is that Golgari Swarm has a lot of magic damage dealers in Black Rose Helena, Little Leela, even Rairyuu Halloween to a point, and Celis really, really eats those up. So I'll be curious to see what Golgari Swarm goes for. Does he go for evade or maybe bring out like the Summer Kill Fae or something like that to try and get that slash damage on that might work a little better versus Celis than those magic damage dealers? It'll be interesting to see. So let's take a look and see what they picked for match 1. All right, guys, matchup number 1 here between Dr. Dickhead and Spike. It looks like the evasion team is coming out for Dr. Dickhead. So even though Spike has accuracy, what I will say is that Locke has re-raise, Violet, excuse me, I almost said Victoria. Violet has courage, so they are much harder to kill than kind of my evasion team, because Venera doesn't have anything like that. So even if Spike can hit them, he's going to have to hit them multiple times to try and get rid of them. So let's see how it works. Spike comes up with the Celis, Luell, McLeod team. Luell's been actually really impressive in this league up to this point, so I'm curious to see what she can do. Going to use Mish to pop that lock TMR buff to try and get the agility and luck up. Very smart move to try and become more evasive. And Celis is going to pop the Runic Blade ability. So up to this point, she has Protect and Shell. However, she should only have 5 hate unless he's running Bowtie or Vow of Love. So is this 5 hate going to be enough? That'll be the thing that we'll have to watch through this fight. So Sky Mirage comes through, slash attack resist down, decent amount of damage, 3k. What can Violet do? She has some massive AoEs with Vorpal Blade. Is that what she's going to go for? Yes, it is. And so she just 3509 to Celis, actually less than that to the Luell. So Luell actually looking pretty tanky. Binding Javelin misses from McLeod. So a very nice dodge here from Dr. Dickhead. Law of Geo-Absorption, though, like I said, Luell is very, very accurate. That's a lot of AoE damage. However, they both still, one has Courage, one has Re-Raise. Going to be tough to take down. What can Celis do? Cleansing Blade on the Mish. So she actually doesn't go for the evasion units, just goes for Mish. I do wonder if Mish was trying to toad them or go for the AoE damage. I'm not entirely sure. Rising Sun comes out. Can Violet pick up this kill? They really need to try and get rid of Celis as quickly as possible here. Oh, but there's, like I said before, the 5 hate. She's been hit 3 times up to this point, so her hate is gone. So they actually don't even need to get rid of Celis. They can just kill the other 2. Law of Geo-Absorption comes out, picks up what would be the double kill, the Courage and Re-Raise proc. Can Celis get rid of one of these people? Does she have the accuracy to do it, is the question. She's charging a spell here. And Locke's going to go. He doesn't have AP, though. Only 1051 damage onto the Luell. She goes for the Sleep. It misses. Sleep misses. Violet, what can you do? 10 AP. Gets the auto attack. So Luell's going to turn and hit one of these guys, or both. Can she hit both? Yes, she can. Wow, Luell just absolutely popping off. Like I said before, Spike has some very, very accurate units on his team. I will say with only the 5 hate, that looked just a little risky. I think if Locke and Violet had more AP at the end, I think Dr. Dickhead could have turned that fight. But that was really, really tricky. And honestly, that was a close match. It was a good one. So let's see what they have for us in match 2. Let's see how Dr. Dickhead changes up his team. We'll see if it works out for him to bring it to match point. Match number 2 here between Spike and Dr. Dickhead. So Dr. Dickhead pulls out the Summer Killfay for the first time. We have not seen this unit yet this season. She was his draft pick in the supplemental draft. So curious to see what she can do in this matchup. Little Leela Halloween, she's an absolute beast. She should do well against Luell. However, that Celis is guarding her with that runic ability. She's not going to be able to do anything if she gets that runic up. They're going to have to hit her twice to be able to eat through that. So we'll see how this matchup works out. And so Celik is going to pop the Runic Blade Plus. So at this point, like I said, she only has 5 hate at this point. However, she can absorb Little Lilo Halloween's abilities, as she really only has magic attacks. Mont's going to separate from the team a little bit, being an absolute bro, not trying to stack up with his teammates, and gets the courage. Frostwind Axe comes out, gets the Frostbite on Celis, so that's pretty cool. And so this is going to be absorbed by Celis. She doesn't get any AP or anything for it because of that Frostbite. Binding Javelin comes out, actually immobilizes the Mont. So this isn't the worst thing in the world, I will say, though, because he is kind of apart from his team at this point. So I think Little Lilo Halloween should be able to go for a heal. Can she proc the Courage on Mont? She can't. That's actually huge because he still has Courage up to this point. He can't move. Goes for the Taunting Blade. So he's got plenty of hate and is apart from his team. That's exactly where you want the tank to be. Summer Killfay, only 2089 onto the Celis, though, so not a ton of damage. Little Lila, you got to go for a heal or something here. Wow, only 1480. I think Binding Javelin actually drops healing power, so that heal actually doesn't do much at all, unfortunately, for Dr. Dickhead. Quadruple Shot comes out. It's going to proc the Courage, and you have to assume that Luell is going to take care of him here. Yeah, Law of Geo-Absorption comes out. She is an absolute beast. Luell is one of the MVPs of this league up to this point, I swear. Her and Kitone, every time I seem to see them, I feel like they just pop off. So Cleansing Blade comes up, removes the buffs. What can Summer Killfay do? Not a lot. She's going to auto attack. Literally Halloween. Is she going to heal or is she going to go for an attack? I think that Runic is still up, though. It is. Man, Celis just counters magic damage dealers so incredibly hard in this game. It's crazy. So McLeod gets the auto attack, and Luel's going to be up. And like I said, the MVP of Spike's team up to this point, potentially. I don't know. It's pretty close. She's probably going to score a double kill here, I have to imagine. She does. She's going to knock them both out. Actually, Little Halloween has the re-raise, but you have to expect this is all but over. There's no way she can take out all three, I don't think. So she's charging something. She goes for the sleep. If she, like, hits all three of them, she could potentially kill McLeod and somebody else. It's going to be really hard. Yeah, she's just going to heal herself. Unfortunately, Little Halloween doesn't even go for the attack there. Quadruple shot comes out, doesn't take care of her. McLeod's just being a bro at this point and saying, hey, Luel, we know you want to get up on that kill stat leader sheet. Go ahead and take it. You can have all 3 kills if you want. Wow. GG. Well played to Spike. Well played to Dr. Dickhead also. Still 2 weeks left in the league, so Dr. Dickhead certainly is not out of it. If he wins his last 2 weeks, he can definitely make the playoffs. Spike winning this week very, very much increases his chances. It's very likely he makes it. I think he really only needs one more win to guarantee himself a playoff spot. So hats off to both competitors this week. Let's check out who we have in the third match. Okay, guys, third matchup of the day is going to be my team, Soldier First Class, versus Jesus's team, the Strawhats. So just to dive into my thought process right away on what I thought about going into this week, I pretty much expected him to run Dark. The very first match, at least, I expected him to run Dark. My thought process was the fact that I have Cloud, I thought would scare him off of running Evade. I didn't think he would run something like Starlight Elena or Vistral, knowing that Cloud with Triple Slash can literally just 100 to 0 you, and for Elena, just like proc her courage in one hit. Cloud is just so incredibly effective against those teams that I didn't think he would go for evasion. I also didn't think he would run Lightning necessarily into this team, because Resnick and Frederica, it's like, what else are you pairing it with? And the thing about his Dark team is it's so incredibly good. So when I looked at this, I figured, okay, there's probably 2 teams that I could face in round 1, and it's his full Dark team, or it is the Ramza Elsarel Fina team. I thought it was more likely I'd face Dark because Leela can carve through just about anybody in this game, including tanks. So what I decided to do for this match 1 was I actually went Dark myself, going Knight of Ruinstern with Venera. And my thought process was, Leela the Bold is incredibly accurate, like crazy accurate. I know I'm probably not going to be dodging many hits from Leela the Bold. However, the units that she's going to bring with her are Whisper and Gafgarian, and they are not the most accurate units in the world. You really have to invest a ton into it to get them to hit evasion units. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an evasive team and try and build up Dark resistance on my team. So it's not like a toxic evade team. It's essentially fairly evasive while also building Dark resist in the team so that I can kind of mitigate Leela's damage and just ignore the other 2. That was my plan going into match 1, and we'll see if it works out for me. All right, guys, so this is my team versus Jesus. You're going to see Knight of Ruinstern sitting about 1586 attack, 102 agility, but scroll down here, 42% dark resist. So I am very, very much gearing for this team specifically, praying that he runs dark. If he doesn't, I don't love my chances. Looking at Venera, I actually have 42% dark and 42% light resist, so she should mitigate that light damage fairly well as well. And the one thing I said before about our league is that you can turn on or off just your regular abilities when you see the opponent, like in this matchup window here. And the nice thing about Naya is that she actually has both Dark Veil and Light Veil. So if I see Dark, I'm going to turn on Dark Veil to get 25% extra Dark Res into this comp. If I see Light, I will turn on Light Veil instead. So that was kind of my plan of attack. Let's see how it works out in actual practice. So here is the matchup, and I do see the full Dark team, which is exactly what I wanted. Whether or not I beat it is a separate question. We'll find out. But this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the full Dark team. I'm hoping to get some evades, and I'm hoping my Dark resistance mitigates the damage. So I have Knight of Runestern popping the illusion, and Jesus' team is going to run a bunch of AoE buffs as well. Little Leela is going to get her slash attack piercing rate on the party, Gap's going to run Keen Blade, and Boon of the Lion gets area attack resist up. A very good early turn rotation from Jesus. Venera is going to run Treasure Hunter's Fortune, and if you saw in my team preview, I actually have Knight of Runestern with the new item Crow Cloak instead of Venera. I do realize that he doesn't get the benefits that Venera does. However, when I wanted to set up my team this way to get specific buffs on, I had to tune the agility in a certain way where if I gave her the Crow Cloak, she was too fast. So I had to actually use him on the other unit. Just a little tidbit there in case you saw that in the matchup preview. But here we've got the illusion buff on and the agility luck on the party, and Runestern's going to pop bells and walk forward, so he should have plenty of AP. And we are set to go. We got our full turn, full buff rotation online. And at this point, I'm going to have Naya run zombie transformation so that if she does get picked off in an AoE or somebody targets her in the back, she can come back up. Now, we actually get a dodge from Little Leela on the first turn. Now, this tells me that I'm probably in good shape here, because if Little Leela's missing, these other two are missing. And as you can see, Whisper cannot physically hit my team. So she walks up and she does nothing. That means she can't hit. So my biggest thing is I need to get through this Little Leela. If I can kill her, I win the game. That's my goal. I need to somehow kill her. Unfortunately, to hit her, I either have to AoE or get to Whisper first. Little Leela does not miss that time. She procs Stern's 100% damage shield. However, Venera soaks that damage fairly well, as you can see. The Abyssal Blade Dart comes out, not dodged by Naya. She took almost 11k from that. But the other two dodge it very nicely. So Whisper, can she take out the Naya? What is she going to do? She goes for Quadra Break. She does. So Naya is dead. However, she kind of did her job. She got the Dark Veil off, and now I'm hoping that these two can carry. Hazard Render comes out, a big old chunk of damage to the entire team, and dropping that healing power is massive versus Little Leela, because her heal up doesn't do a whole lot. Venera gets the double kill, and I go ahead and win match 1. So let's go ahead and move on to match 2, and I'll talk about what I did for that match. All right, guys, so for matchup number 2, I just kind of wanted to show you what I did with my party. And in case you're looking at this and wondering on a couple of things, like I said, some of the vision card choices probably seem a little odd to people. In the first game, I had Demon Wall as a main VC, and that is because it gives 20 dark resistance to dark units. I am switching it up this time because of how hard I felt like I won the first match. I'm kind of expecting him not to run dark. I'm thinking that it's a possibility, but I think because of how well I won, I thought I could kind of shift my focus a little bit and still have success against dark while also preparing for like light evasion to try and counter my own evasion team. So the changes that I made was I added the Rob Horn sub VC onto Runestern so that if I do face evade, I know for sure that I can guaranteed hit the other team. And if I see light evade, I could always turn like Reflect on or something for Naya. That's not necessarily the best way to do it, but I know Elena has unavailable pain and that could be reflected back onto her. But basically you can see my team comp, I'm preparing a little more for light evade, not just solely against the like dark squad here. The other thing, like I pointed out before, I have the Crow Cloak on Stern and Ribbon on Venera. Normally I would want to have these the other way around, but because of the agility tuning and I needed speed to like match up a certain way, I couldn't run Crow Cloak on Venera, unfortunately. The other thing you're going to notice here is the bow tie on Naya. So this is kind of a weird thing, but she actually got her Master Ability 2 this week. And part of her Master Ability 2 is that she actually loses 3 hate. In testing, I didn't need this bow tie. Before I got the Mastery Ability 2, to do all my buffs and stuff like that, everything worked perfectly exactly how I wanted. However, when she lost the 3 hate, it screwed up my entire buff rotation because now my ally who I wanted to run to Naya the first time to buff in a circle, like Venera then run to Runestern instead, and it screwed everything up. So I actually had to run Bowtie on her to get back to exactly 0 hate. So that is why I have that on her in case you see that as well. So a couple of weird things in this party setup, but for the most part, I didn't want to change it up too much. I felt like it had a decent chance against most of his teams, unless he either pumps up the accuracy like crazy, or I would maybe be a little afraid of his other light team, not the evade team. So let's see how this works up in match 2. Okay, match number 2. So he did decide to bring the exact same dark team. So my immediate thought is he probably added some accuracy. Is it going to be enough accuracy? Because at last match, Golgari was able to attempt to hit my team, but he couldn't hit them. And Whisper just couldn't even attempt, which means she had 0%. So how much accuracy did he add to his team? That is the question. So up to this point, I'm seeing all of the exact same buffs from Jesus' team, and I'm doing all of the same buffs as well. Again, I saw the dark lineup in the party, and I felt like I should just keep everything the exact same way. So Treasure Hunter's Fortune comes off, and this should be the Dark Veil on the whole party. And Little Leela's going to get her Courage and AoE Resist online. So Golgari should do Deception Plus, get up that Man-Eater buff to try and do more damage. And like I said, Dark Veil here. So at this point, my Dark Resist is slightly lower than last match, but I didn't think it would be like super impactful. The biggest question is, can I still dodge these other units? That's the big thing. So Revitalize comes out from Ruinstern. And the Re-Raise coming out from Naya. So pretty much everything up to this point is the same, except I think for some reason, I'm not entirely sure why, Venera didn't run. I think something got a little weird with my agility when I swapped one of the vision cards, because Venera didn't go into the entire party to get that agility and luck up. So at this point, the biggest difference is Whisper obviously missed, but Little Leela the Bold hit that first attack. It doesn't look like it because his shield was covering for him. However, Ruinstern walks up and gets a giant hazard runner on the whole team. So we've got some really good damage coming out up to this point. So can we get any dodges? Delightful Destruction comes out. We do not dodge it. That's a lot of damage. So at this point, Naya should go for a heal. She actually walks up into the middle of the party, which I'm not a fan of. And Golgari should walk up. He hits the Ruinstern as well. So not only hits the Naya, but also hits the Ruinstern, which is very unfortunate. He was up next, and he had enough AP for another hazard render. So if he's up, he kills everyone except for Leela having the Courage. So that was pretty huge. So Venera, it is up to you, girl. You need to keep dodging. You need to dodge everybody and take everyone out. Can you do it? We'll find out. Little Leela is one of the most accurate units in the game. She auto attacks her. She is down for the count, and I lose match 2, bringing us to a third match. So yeah, in hindsight, I think what I could have potentially done is just invested even more heavily like in evasion. I could have just went like full evasion to try and see if I could dodge hits from Golgari and stuff like that. Because realistically, this fight, if Golgari misses, I'm pretty confident I win. Because I could be wrong about that, because my team did somewhat stack up. Leela might have been able to AoE the whole team, I don't know. But she would have been the only one living that hazard render hit on the very next turn. And she would have been alive with 1 health. So I think I probably would have won. So I could have went more evasion or just prepped a little harder into the dark. I don't know. Let's find out. So anyway, I'm going to show you what I end up doing for match 3 and try and see if I can pull this back and win the series. All right, guys, so matchup number 3. So one thing I am doing here is that I'm leaving Naya in slot 1. This is to give the impression that I might still be running that exact same Dark Evasion team, because I ran Naya in slot 1 previously. However, the difference here is that I'm not running Dark Veil or Light Veil. I'm actually running the Starlight Elena TMR. The reason for that is I didn't want Naya to be spamming that buff over and over. When I tried it in practice, she would use Dark Veil and then eventually use like Dark Veil again. And I didn't want her wasting turns like that. Starlight Elena does a slightly less amount, but it covers both Dark and Light Resist at the exact same time for the entire party in a very wide area as well. So it doesn't have to be like right next to each other. Essentially, for vision cards, I'm doing like fairly standard lightning vision cards. I've got a couple of AoE resist cards, the Esther card, Scorpion Sentinel, just a lot of really generic stuff. And then the biggest thing that I'm doing is I'm running Demon Wall on I almost said Starlight Elena, on Charlotte to get that dark and light resist up. And then I'm also trying to build as much evasion as possible. The other thing that I'm adding here is one weakness that I felt like on his team that his dark comp didn't have was barrier breaks. Little Leela the Bold can get through almost anyone. However, the one thing she can't do is she can't chain and she can't barrier break. That means that barriers are extremely effective on her. So I'm actually running the Charlotte TMR on herself, and I'm running Orlando's TMR on himself to try and make them a little bulkier so that I can get through them. So let's see how it works out in practice in match 3. All right, so the final match between me and Jesus, he keeps the exact same dark team. Something I kind of expected, just because he did win match 2 with it. I figured he probably wouldn't switch, but let's see if my adjustments pay off and see if I can win this match 3. So Orlando's going to walk up, Crest of the Black Lion. It's a very good buff. Ups his AoE resist when he's high on health, gives him AP restore, and also nullifies blind, which is something to think about when you're facing against Little Leela, excuse me, because her limit break does blind. So having that nullification is very useful. This is Charlotte's TMR, so getting that shield online, which is very, very nice. Little Leela's going to go Delightful Destruction, 3780. Still some really solid damage from her. Again, she's just so incredibly hard to tank, but thank God I put that shield on, or it would have been much more. So the Aurora of Blessings comes out, and now I have enhanced Dark Resist on the team, which I'm very, very happy about. Should be able to mitigate another 20% of damage. Taunting Spell, going to do basically no damage. It's just going to get that hate up for Whisper. And Orlando's going to get his shield online as well. So now Charlotte has 2 hits left, or 1 hit left of her, excuse me, and Orlando has all 3 hits of his shield. Now she gets the Attract Wall up, so she has plenty of hate for the rest of the fight. Now can I sustain through the hits and have Naya heal her up? That's the question. Graceful Undoing is going to remove that extra hate. Unfortunately, the spell is so really crippling to play against and such a huge AoE. So Naya, I'm looking forward to healing Charlotte, and for some reason she walks way far forward to get this heal. I'm really not entirely sure why she does that, because this has a like 4 range on the heal, but for some reason she wanted to be a part of the heal. Anyway, Orlando comes up and gets a huge chunk on the team, 6k onto Little Leela, and now I'm hoping Charlotte can take somebody out. She walks right next to her teammates, just being a real cock block for her team. So now at this point, I'm hoping to live through these. Graceful Undoing does a good chunk, and now I'm praying that I can live through this wave of hits here. But it's not going to happen. Gafgarian does way too much damage, and my team goes down. A couple of big things on the positioning in that fight. I think I probably should have had Orlando a little separated from the team. Having him too close to Charlotte really kind of bit me in that match 3, because he was able to be hit by those AoEs. And the other thing is, like, Naya's AI sometimes is so incredibly good and sometimes is so brutal. Like, when you're full health, you don't need to be a part of the heal. So I don't know why she did that. It was really unfortunate. I was hoping she would just stay back so that she could stay alive and hopefully heal and raise from people from the back. But regardless, props to Jesus. He has a heck of a team. Get those 3 points, and now he has 16, I believe. So he is in really, really good shape. Anyway, we've got 2 more matches to go over this week, so let's get to the next one. All right, matchup number 4 this week is Sandrooster and the Slim Chance Brigade versus MaechenX and the Wondrous Shoopufs. Again, 2 teams very close in the standings. Only two points separates them at this moment. So whoever wins passes up. Well, if Sandrooster wins, he passes up MaechenX, and if MaechenX wins, his playoff chances go through the roof. He's basically only needs like 1 more point to clinch a playoff spot if he wins this series. So very, very important for both teams here. Taking a look at the teams to see how they match up, just looking at the elemental advantages right out of the gate. Zazan and Kitone obviously have the elemental advantage versus the lightning, and water, beats fire, and then the fire beats ice. So a couple of little like elemental matchups here. The one thing I will say though, along with like that kind of elemental chain, it seems like MaechenX wins that elemental chain. However, the fire units kind of beat evade in my opinion. Terra and Summer Kitone just have so much, like good damage, decent bulk, and guaranteed hits that I think they do very well against this evasion comp. So another little, kind of musical chairs with elements and different things like that. The biggest thing to look for, I think, from MaechenX is he's made some really crafty teams in the past mixing elements. So I do expect him to do that, whether it's ice and earth or earth and water or ice and water. I do expect some sort of combination there, just because he's done that in the past to great success. The one standout from his team up to this point has been Kitone with that 11 KDA, 4 wins, 1 loss. On the side of Sandrooster, Agrius having a lot of really, really good status effects and being his brand new unit. Could we see her as well? Let's go ahead and find out. Let's see what happens in match 1. First battle of this matchup, we've got Agrius, Summer Kitone, and Silma versus another mixed element, Winter Victoria, Kitone, and Elshra. So full rainbow comps coming out from both sides here. Should be very, very exciting. One thing I will say from MaechenX is that he took Winter Victoria not only because he thought it was a really good unit, but he actually loves her voice lines. So if you're listening to this and I don't talk over her too much, try and listen to the voice lines. Apparently they're very, very good. So Summer Kitone getting an AoE buff up on the party, getting Spirit Piercing rate up, and some other magic buffs. Agri's going to pop Bells on turn 1, so very, very interesting. Doesn't go for the barrier. Could be because Winter Victoria has a barrier break, so maybe she doesn't want to pop that barrier thinking that it will go to waste. I don't know. We'll find out. So Utsusemi Shadow coming from Kitone. And Kitone is so incredibly pesky. She's not a tank, but because of that Drain Force and the Courage when she's at 100%, she's so hard to get rid of. I think from Sandrooster, if she can get rid of Kitone, he wins. That's really the question. Like, can he get rid of the Kitone? So Elshra going to channel probably either Haste or Quicken. We'll find out which one it is. And yeah, Agrius actually doesn't even have a second buff online, so very interesting. Kind of a wasted turn, but that means she will go a little sooner on her next turn. So it is the haste. So Kitone is going to be hasted up. What's she going to do? I imagine she's going to go for Drain Force. 24-43. Tanked fairly well from the Agrius, I would say. Can they chain up on her like 3 in a row and get rid of her? That's kind of the question. Break Spread, decent damage on the AoE. And Elshra is going to pop another haste or maybe a quicken, one of the two. Looks like probably going to be a haste since Winter Victoria's in range. Wow, jamming thrust, 11k from the Silma takes out Winter Victoria. That's nuts. So Judgment Blade Plus comes out, 2047 damage, not a ton. So Kitone, it looks like, is going to be able to do another Drain Force. So now at this point, Sandrooster's team, like all 3 in a row, kind of need to hit her to get rid of her. They need to just like chain right in a row, boom, boom, boom. That should work, I would think. So Summer Kitone going to go Bursting Light, 4111, takes to her about half. And wow, Kitone goes again. That is a speedy Kitone. Holy cow, she just went. Drain Force takes out Agrius. Oh man, now this is looking actually kind of rough for Sandrooster at this point. I'm not sure how many uses of Drain Force Kitone gets, but I think she's used 3 up to this point. Shadow Flare, what kind of damage? Not a ton. Not a ton. So Haste or Quicken, one of the two comes out. Haste comes out. Sandrooster's phone locks. He unlocks it very quickly for us. Very clutch play by him. Unavailable Pain comes out. Takes out the Elshra. And Kitone, what are you going to do? Drain Force on the Silma. Takes her out. Summer Kitone has guaranteed hits. She has a lot of damage. You basically need to one-shot. Summer Kitone versus regular Kitone. Where's it better? Drain Force comes out. But you can't one-shot her because she has Courage. Oh, even if she one-shots her, she has Courage. What is she going to do? She goes for the Limit Break. This doesn't dispel Courage, does it? I don't know. Maybe. Spirit down. Oh, man. She gets her so low. Who's going to go next, though? You have to imagine it's regular Kitone with the haste. It is 3 AP. She doesn't have enough for Drain Force. 684. I don't know how much health she had before that auto attack, but holy shit. That was insanely close, actually. Summer Kitone almost pulled that off. I think if she had like 100 more health, I think she lives that hit because Kitone didn't have enough AP for another Drain Force. Wow, heck of a match. Well played by both MaechenX and Sandrooster. Very excited to see what happens in match 2. All right, guys, so coming into the second match here, Sandrooster told me that his game plan, he felt like MaechenX would probably do the same thing, so he decided he wanted to go full Fire Mages. He felt like Winter Victoria wasn't a huge threat, and then he felt like Kitone was the main threat, so bringing the dual Fire Mage, he felt like he could get rid of Kitone and hopefully win the match. So that's his adjustment and his reasoning. So Winter Victoria going to pop Bells. She is kind of off to the side this time. Terra going to get Courage online. And the Murmur is here instead of Soma this time just because of those cost restrictions. But is Murmur stacking missile resist? That's my question, because if she is, she should be able to tank Winter Victoria pretty well. And I do believe Sandrooster normally runs hate on his Murmur, about 5 with Valve Love or Bowtie or something like that. So yeah, and Murmur can stack up insane resists in one type, like depending on what you want to run. She also has a barrier. She has the Orlando TMR. So what is Winter Victoria going to do? I imagine she can hit her from this range. She can't, actually. She goes for target. So she can't even hit Murmur up to this point. So you have to imagine this is another haste onto the Kitone. Similar strategy from the first match. And Tara has re-raise. So now you got to kill her 3 times. Her regular health bar, courage, and re-raise. The haste actually goes onto Winter Victoria instead of Kitone. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Drain Force, 4078. So that is something you can't build resist for, Murmur. So not something you can tank very well. Does she tank the Winter Victoria hit? Barrier Break Arrow. She still tanks it. It killed her barrier and it still only did 1742. Murmur can be a tanky girl if you don't have penetration. So Summer Kitone comes out. This should be a guaranteed hit. Can Tara get the Magic Blast Plus? No, it's Summer Kitone is there and then the tree is in the way. Oh, I'm sure that Sandrooster wanted to chain that damage right there. Jamming Thrust, 4,400 from Murmur, so respectable damage coming out from the SR unit. And she's going to go for the Limit Break. Who does this hit? Is it only hitting one unit? Is it hitting multiple? So it hits multiple and they are blinded. Not the biggest deal in the world for Summer Kitone, however, because she does have guaranteed hits. So it shouldn't really matter a whole lot that she's blinded. It's really more so the damage. Drain Force comes out 3854. She lives, but Winter Victoria goes again. Those hastes from Maechen's side really just working for him. Really getting dividends for him. So Tara's going to go pop the Limit Break. I think this is on Elshra, and Sandrooster's phone locks up again, but he quickly unlocks it. Another quick response. So takes out the Elshra in one hit, but what can Tara do? She still has courage and re-raise, and she still has some health. So it's basically going to take 3 hits, or 2 hits to kill her here. 1, and then 2 more, she's dead. So she can live 1 more hit and still live. Meltdown Plus. But Kitone's probably going to Drain Force again. Winter Victoria has another turn. It's looking really grim for Sandrooster. Yeah, she goes down, has the re-raise. But Winter Victoria should be in range, I believe. And she popped bells earlier, so she has the AP. She does. She should be able to take her out here with a slow shot. And that's going to be a 2-0 for MaechenX. So unfortunately for Sandrooster, that first match was so incredibly close. Honestly, the second match was really good too. If that tree is not there, I think Sandrooster wins that match. Because I think Tara walks up and Meltdown Plus, is that what it's called? Yeah, Meltdown Plus is Kitone, and I think she probably dies there. But man, GG, that's the most valuable tree. I said that early in week 2, I think, but this one might be the most valuable tree now. Anyway, heck of a match. Let's check out the final one we have for this week. All right, guys, so 2 teams here, JEBAW and the Sappers and SurfTaco and the Edge Sheerans. In terms of standings, not incredibly close, 6 points apart. However, if JEBAW can pull a win here, that gap gets much more narrow. So we'll see what happens here. Astrius, I'm going to point out, 16 KDA, absolutely dominating so far up to this point in this season. However, JEBAW has an extremely strong Lightning team, so I don't expect to see water. In terms of this matchup, I think SurfTaco can kind of go 2 options. He can do light with a Quicken user, or he can do ice with a Quicken user. I have to imagine that ice is probably the play here. Just because I don't think you have enough damage to get through like the Ravies or potentially even like 2 tanks with just Jaden. But who knows? Maybe I could be completely wrong. So I think I probably expect to see Ice and Phoebe or Shell. In terms of JEBAW and the Sappers, I personally don't see a reason why he doesn't just run straight Lightning here. I think it's probably his best team comp overall anyway, aside from maybe the Ibarra Ravies Dario comp. And he has an elemental advantage versus water. So if he brings that, I think he pretty much just straight wins that match. So it'll be very interesting to see. I expect lightning. I also expect ice. We'll see what we get. Let's go to match 1. All right, guys. So matchup number 1 here is kind of what we expected. It's the ice team versus the lightning team. Who's going to get the upper hand? Let's find out. So Ibarra's going to pop that Fall of Night buff right away. get her piercing rate up, all of her modifiers up. Just an incredible overall buff for her to up that damage. Wish for Peace comes out. So very cool, getting the luck up. I am curious to see if this is a dodgy Ravies. JEBAW has done this before where he's done somewhat of an evasive Ravies, and maybe expecting the ice comp might have went an evasion route because ice is not the most... His ice team is not the most accurate. Oh my god, Victoria, the Charm Queen, gets charmed turn 1. What is she going to do? She's going to run into her own team here. What is she going to pull off here? Oh my god, and the RNA counter ability breaks the Victoria shield, and Victoria destroys Shell in one hit. Almost kills Victoria or Aranea. Oh my god. Oh no. Say it ain't so. This is so bad for SurfTaco's team. That Steel Heart. I can't get over that. The amount of damage she did in one hit, and then Aranea's counter got rid of Victoria's shield for JEBAW. That is crazy. And now she's just going to sit and puff. It's a 3v1. Oh man, this is brutal. Easy UI is going to come out, almost one-shot her. Can Salir reach from there? I don't think so. Victoria, what can you do? You can miss. That's what you can do. Oh my god, this is going to be a perfect match. Like literally no damage taken. Not even a 3-0, a 100% health perfect 3-0. I don't think I've seen a match that one-sided all season. I'm so sorry, SurfTaco. I hope you can adjust for match 2. Let's get into it. Okay, so second game of this match, SurfTaco is actually bringing the exact same team, the Ice Girls. So I'm assuming, has a plan for the Charm this time, because the Charm completely destroyed his team last time. So the positioning is different. Victoria is a little further back, it looks like. And let's see what he does here. So the buff rotation from JEBAW seems to be pretty much the same. Midsummer Refreshment, so gets the Shell, expecting a lot of magic damage coming in. That's a good move. Dragon's Pride, and this is a SurfTaco classic. Victoria popping the Dragon's Pride, and then Shell or Phoebe hastening, and then quicking the other user. So you have 2 hasted units who just bring a ton of damage, and then you're popping quickens on them from the back. A very effective strategy in these cost-limited formats when you have 2 damage dealers. Frost Reaver comes through, misses 2 units, but does get the Frostbite on Ibarra. And does do a decent amount of damage, over half. What can Ibarra do, though? Can she one-shot the RNA with Malevolent Lightning? 7301, so she can't. So that Shell that she popped earlier, I think, was crucial. I don't know if she would have one-shot her, but it would have been really close. The Limit Break comes through from RNA. Is she accurate enough to hit these units this time? She misses the Ravies. She kills the Ibarra, though. That Ravies is a dodgy girl. Wow. Quicken comes out, though. Can she hit this time? She does have a guaranteed hit when she's in close range. That's not it, actually, but she does remove buffs from her, so that could be pretty huge. And this comes in 3s. This is actually the new Vision card, the new Halloween Vision card that just came out, the triple hit. And Dragon's Fang comes out, gets the counter. So even though the counter didn't work in SurfTaco's favor last time, he gets it, and it works for him here. Gets the heal. I don't know if it even would matter. He's up in the air. It looks like about to delete this Salir. He does, and wow, SurfTaco, after getting obliterated match 1, turns around and does the reverse 3-0 to him in match 2. I think we're in for a juicy match 3. So let's see who can pull it out in this final game of the day. All right, guys, final match of the entire day here. They're running back the same way. Both teams have said, hey, I've gotten a 3-0 in my back pocket. I'm going to try and get another one. So Ice versus Lightning this time. Let's see what the adjustments are and see how it works out. So it looks like SurfTaco flipped the map. He's got Victoria on the opposite side, and it looks like JEBAW kind of did the same thing. He has his entire team on the other side of the map as well. So will it work out the same way? Wish for Peace actually goes off on the entire team this time instead of just Salir and Ravi. So if you noticed last time Ibarra was not dodging, maybe this could help. We'll find out. So Victoria is going to pop that Dragon's Pride, gets the haste and move up. Ravies, what are you going to do? Steel Vision, not Steel Heart. Interesting. So I wonder if Steel Heart's turned off or if he just went that route to be more evasive. Curious. We'll see what happens. Frost Reaver comes out. Ravies dodges it again, but it one-shots the Salir. That is huge. Ibarra still being alive, though. She is a massive damage dealer. She just auto-attacks to get rid of that 100% shield. And I imagine this should be a quicken coming out. Aranea, can you hit these units? She's going to pop the limit break. I didn't see any movement. I think she hits these ones. She does. That's a lot of damage. Holy cow. Rabbies, what can you do? You need to like charm somebody or pull out something crazy. Blade Bash lands the stun. The stun is huge. That CC can be massive. Victoria misses a turn. Ibarra, what can you do? Counterman Slash takes out the Victoria. Oh man, it is now a 2v1. Oh no, it's a 2v2. I'm sorry. Shell is in the back. She's not in range to channel though. But Brandish plus the guaranteed hit comes out and Aranea picks up the kill. I have to imagine if she didn't have that guaranteed hit, I mean, they kill her next turn, but wow, man. GG. Heck of a match between SurfTaco and JEBAW. 2 clean 3-0s, and then the last one I think was much, much closer. But yeah, heck of a match. Let's check out the stats, how they end up after the first 7 weeks. Let's check out the standings as well and discuss a little bit of the playoff push and who might look like they're going to make it. So let's take a look. Okay, guys, so let's take a look at the stats before we dive into the standings. So we have a new kill leader this week. I also want to apologize. Last week, Leela the Bold was technically the kill leader, and I didn't have that showing on the video. So I just want to give a little shout out to Jesus and the Strawhats there. Leela was tied for first and had the best kills per match. I goofed and accidentally didn't add the stats from one of the matches, so that is why I didn't show it, so I apologize. So Leela was the kill leader last week. Joker did surpass her this week, however. Joker sitting at 17, Leela the Bold at 16, Garvel 14, Astrius 13, and then Luel, Black-Robed Witch Helena, Ibarra, Terra, Kitone, and Eliza bringing up the bottom part of that list. In terms of assist leaders here, another new leader, Renelle now at 26. Phoebe was the assist leader at 24. She actually didn't play this week though, so she couldn't gain any. So she lost her lead, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if next week she regains that lead. Whisper at 25, Phoebe 24, Joker, Garvel, Nasha, Little Leela Halloween, Naya, Curry Wazette, and Gafgarian. For the KDA leaders, the last stat I want to show, Kitone was, I think, the leader or the second place in last week's with 11 KDA. She is now the leader at 17. I know MaechenX mentioned it to me when I was talking to him about it. He said he felt like decent about the Kitone pick when he took it, but it's absolutely been his MVP pick, and I completely agree. Kitone has been a monster all season. Now sitting at 9-1-8 for that KDA. Very, very impressive. Speaking of monsters, Astrius at 16. And then we got Luel, Leela the Bold, a bunch of Fire Ferrets, and Glaciella Wazette in the KDA leader roles. 5 out of the 10 are Turambar's team, Fire Ferrets. Nothing to see here. So let's check out the standings. And I did just kind of want to mention to you guys real quick, I do have a Discord channel if you guys don't know about it. I will link it in the video description in case you guys are looking to just kind of, you know, hang out and talk to other people who like WoTV. If you're looking for any sort of like resources or anything like that, we have people who post really cool like PvP content in the Discord channel all the time. So if you want to check out that kind of stuff, all of that kind of stuff is here. So we are looking for more people to join. If you're ever curious and want to just talk to more people who enjoy the game like we do and you do, go ahead and join the Discord channel. Very much look forward to it. So we have a separate channel. It's called Draft League Fan Club. And this is something that I posted in here that I just wanted to go over with you guys. So this is a little something that I made in Excel here. And I'll actually zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it more easily. But this is essentially a little graph that shows who beat who in the standings. And I will show you the like full standings after this. This was going into this week. So this is slightly going to be updated. I will update this, so I apologize. But in case you're looking for like who beat who to try and figure out tiebreakers and stuff like that, I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what this looks like. And I'll try and show this the last like couple weeks for the videos and different things like that. That being said, let's take a look at the final standings after week 7. Again, there is 9 weeks of the regular season, so there's only 2 weeks left in the entire season. So the biggest thing that we can look at here in terms of making the playoffs, I know it doesn't seem like it mathematically. Unfortunately, Unhindered is eliminated from the playoffs. The only possible way, I tried to see if there was a possible way that he can make it, and really the only thing that can happen is he can get in a multiple way tie at 11 points, like a 3 or 4 way tie for 11 points for that last spot. And in that scenario, even though he beat Dr. Dickhead head to head, because it's like a multi-team tie, there's like a bunch of tiebreakers that go into it. the Golgari Swarm would actually win that tiebreaker in that like 3 or 4 way tie. So unfortunately, Unhindered, I'm very sorry, but it looks like you are not going to make the playoffs. Don't worry, I probably won't either. But he is unfortunately eliminated, cannot make that top 6. In terms of people who have made the top 6, we've got 3 teams that are clinched already with 2 weeks left. So Turambar and the Fire Ferrets clinched playoffs. He has not clinched a first round bye, and the last couple weeks should be absolute bangers because even though it looks like he's doing extremely well and has a hold of first place, wouldn't you know it, his last 2 opponents are the 2 teams that are tied for second. He plays Jesus and he plays against SurfTaco. Super looking forward to both of those matches. If somehow he did lose both of those matches, he wouldn't get a bye. He needs 2 points basically to guarantee a first round bye. And if you guys don't know, a first round bye also guarantees that you will be in season 2 of the War Visions Draft League. So I am planning on doing a second season. How that will look, there will be more to come. I will discuss that in a later video. But just know that we are going to do another season after this because it's been an absolute blast and a heck of a lot of fun. So anyway, these 3 teams clinched playoffs. MaechenX, I don't remember the math exactly. I believe he needs 1 point to clinch playoffs. It might be 2 points, but I think 1 point clinches playoffs. I think it is 1 because I believe Spike clinches playoffs with 1 full win. And in terms of these 4 right here, this is where it gets really juicy and really, really interesting. So I am currently in 9th place, but it's also kind of a 3-way tie for 7th. So Dr. Dickhead has 8, JEBAW has 8, I have 8, and Sandrooster has 9. My last 2 matchups of the season are against Sandrooster and Dr. Dickhead. So ball's in my court. If I beat those guys, I would be sitting at 14 points. And I would be passing them up, and the only person who could take my playoff spot over me at that point is JEBAW. However, JEBAW actually plays against Spike, who is sitting at 12 in that 5th spot. So if I win the last 2 weeks, me personally, my chances are very, very high of making it. However, matchups are going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. A little scared of that Oberon from Sandrooster. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but it should be really, really interesting these last 2 weeks to see who ends up squeaking into the playoffs. It'll be very, very interesting. And again, our playoff format, top 2 gets bye. In the first round, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And then I believe 1 plays the winner of 4-5 and 2 plays the winner of 3-6. And then those 2 winners will meet in the final. So it should be really, really interesting. But anyway, I've spoken long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.